be their Dixie Dan or
Dixie
Dave.
Jazz Daddy.
Dixie
Jazz, lay it on me, Jazz Daddy.
We're doing it. We're doing the thing again.
Wait, let me snap a picture for the gram, guys.
The gram?
Yeah, the gram.
Do we have a gram?
We have a Facebook.
Oh.
That I am officially, hey, everybody, by the way, how's it going?
Hi.
Yeah, I'm officially in control of the Facebook since I'm the only one left who's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Everybody, oh, God, that's not a
for
selfie.
some fucking
Oh,
reason.
let's see, are we all in this? Can I lean far enough into this?
Hold on, let me,
We're just,
oh, God, what
no,
have
what
I
do we-
done? Oh,
Dude.
Jesus.
we're too
This
old
is,
to have an Instagram. That's good enough.
Whatever, fuck it, here we go. Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Yep, got to take pictures for social media.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, we're up on the craze. We're hip and anyway,
The craze.
the craze of Facebook.
Yeah, you know, it's just that hip fad that's been around since we were in college.
That's right. That's right, Dave.
Why, yes. I remember when you had to have an EDU to get on there.
I remember when you had to have an
Oh,
IUD
yeah.
to get on Facebook.
I had specifically to go and get an IUD just so I could get on Facebook.
Create post. All right. How's everybody doing this week? Y'all good?
Yeah, it's all right.
I'm doing fucking terrible. Thank you for asking.
I'm sorry.
You feel a little better, right? A little teeny bit?
Yeah, no.
Kinda.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I would say you're fucked, but I think we need like at least 5 minutes to warm up.
Yeah, we got to
before
warm
get
up.
there.
So let's talk about what's here's something that's really light. That's let's talk about the state of the United States. That's a nice topic to cheer everyone up.
Yeah, that's great. Oh man, I was just on a team call for work like before you guys came over, and it's one of those like sort of it's like a virtual happy hour. So everyone's got a little drink and we're all just chatting. And then before I knew what had happened, like an hour had gone by, and it was like just getting to that point where people want to start to talk about politics, and I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out.
Oh
of
yeah,
here.
you don't want to be part of that. Trust me, you don't want any part of that bullshit.
I just gotta get right the fuck out of here. Because there's also like this temptation whenever you're like working with like British people to be like, hey, what are you guys seeing over there?
Oh yeah, literally the same shit that we're seeing over here, just
Yeah, right.
with someone with a weird accent. Oh, it's old Withershins and higgledy-piggledy and whatever fucking, you know. They just trails off into American.
Higgledy piggledy.
Higgledy, yeah.
You know how
Piggly wiggly.
You know how British people are always talking about higgledy piggledy.
My favorite supermarket.
That was a prince of the House of Tudor, if I remember right. Higgledy piggledy.
Is it?
Is it really?
No.
Dude, I'll believe anything.
That's my favorite when you do that. No.
No, what the fuck are you talking about?
Anyway, hi everybody.
Hey.
I've said that again
Yeah,
several times.
Do you want to try it again?
No, I don't. I'm
No.
fine. Wh's everyone doing this week? You can't answer. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Welcome to the Dude Cast.
yeah.
Yes.
that's what it is. That's who we are, what we are, what we're doing.
made of. And
Yeah.
I'm hosting this week. How about that?
Yeah. So another fresh bucket of slop for you.
That's
listeners.
right. You fucking love it.
Quality content.
Three Dude Cast. Quality content?
Yeah. Just burps and farts. That's
The
about it.
realest motherfuckers on the internet.
That's right. Oh, yeah. So it is worth noting, since I snapped that picture for the gram.
The gram.
We're not on Instagram because I don't like Instagram, but we are on Facebook and we are on Twitter. And actually, we've been on Facebook and Twitter since 2016.
Yeah.
We just,
Basically, there's like a 3-year
there's like a
radio
summer
silence.
gap, But I am the new webmaster. I am the Dude Master Extraordinaire.
Seeing as the other two of us are not on Facebook anymore,
Yes.
we cannot do anything on there. So it falls to you.
Yes, I am the social media extraordinaire
You got
guy.
a promotion.
Yeah.
I decided that it wasn't worth having ads thrown at me that know a little too much about me in between shitty political takes.
Yeah, good point. But anyway, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter if you still are a cog in the machine and
Yes, if
like
you're,
me.
if you're still mindlessly caught up in that horrible maze,
Well,
visit
then
us.
Visit us at Three Dude Cast on Facebook and Twitter at I think it's Three Dude Cast. I don't know, whatever. I'm the worst webmaster. But you can find us. I just posted that picture of us trying to do the thing, and follow us and please share it because I don't know, fucking whatever. Who cares?
Share it, and maybe someone will see it, and then it'll go away.
It'll get bigger than I think the episodes we had with the most listens has like 130 or 140.
I think that's right. Isn't it the Ask the Dudes episode?
I think it is. It's like 140 listens or something like that.
Drew's episode was the most popular since we've joined Podbean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a couple listeners in New Zealand. There's at least 2 in Canada that we've had that have listened to multiple episodes. So
that's cool.
That is cool.
Have those countries been on our international apology world tour? I'm sure Canada has.
Not yet. Canada's surprisingly absent. I don't have anything to make fun of Canada for. I like Canada.
Yeah.
If I was going to
pretty hard to offend those maple swilling hill jacks.
Yeah, those moose fucking townies.
Listen, Canada is like all the good parts of America. It's the gun-toting, beer-swilling part of America without the like insane level of hyper-conservatism.
Yeah, right.
It's like
I think they have that too. It's just
they
different.
do too. Yeah, it's just different there. Yeah.
They're also not too much better than we are about indigenous peoples.
Oof.
Unfortunately.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's why we chase them out to a different part of the country.
Jesus Christ.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's Canada is
Bastards making me rename my baseball team.
Yeah, I don't know. I do like Canada quite a bit.
Yeah, they're actually changing the name from it. They're not just getting rid of Chief Wahoo. They're actually going to change the name.
They're talking about it, yeah.
Yeah.
They're changing
really?
it to the Cleveland Savages.
The Cleveland Steamers.
The Cleveland the Injuns.
Cleveland Funny Red Peoples.
No, we can keep going with that joke all day long.
The Cleveland hit 'em ball with stick. No,
of course not.
No.
Of course not.
No, that's a fun exercise though. Trying to come up with another name from. I don't know. The Cleveland Commodores sound pretty good.
Yeah, Commodores isn't bad. I don't see how Indians is super offensive because that's like American Indians is like, I don't know.
That's what they prefer to be called as American Indians.
Right.
I think that's not the offensive part.
Not Native American Indian.
That's not the offensive part. I think it's just always that it's like, let's make our mascot the big scary mascot.
Sure. Okay. And I'm an Indians fan. I'm willing to concede Chief Wahoo.
Yeah.
Are you mean to tell me that Chief Wahoo is racist?
What about that impossibly caricatured face?
The thing is, they had like the original Chief Wahoo caricature from like the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Where it's just actually like a guy with like dark brown skin and everything.
Yeah.
And then they changed it
to like a more offensive.
and they made it more offensive somehow. It's like it's just full red skin and big.
That'll be like right now,
teeth.
if they were like, listen, we need to fix this. And then they just brought the same guy out with a big fucking peace pipe.
Yeah, peace pipe and like a fifth of whiskey.
Right. Yeah, we fixed it.
Yep. Also, we're changing the name to the. Never mind.
No. You've got one in the bank.
I do have one in the bank.
Just whatever that is.
We're not going there.
Don't say it.
Not going there.
I know you want to real bad.
Anyway, we're fucked this week, aren't we?
Nice.
Thank you.
That was good. Yeah.
I was a little concerned since you don't have a beer in front of you. We might not get our classic burps, but boy,
Got that Sprite.
You got plenty of Sprite though.
that'll do it.
And zero sugar, which
Not bad, right?
it doesn't taste like it's zero sugar. But
Yeah, I think you're getting better at
Yeah,
this.
you know what?
Yeah.
They are getting better at it. Like, because I've been like sort of going into the Diet Coke thing, which I was super against.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Not
Right,
bad.
no, they're figuring something
It's
out.
not good. It's definitely not good. I don't want to say
It's not as good anyway.
No, it's nowhere
but
near as good.
but it's not bad.
It's not bad. It's just not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are fucked this week. I think I'll lead off this week.
Why
not?
don't you?
The host almost never leads off, so I'm going to take the reins.
That's true.
I'm fucked because every piece of electronic technology in my life
Yeah.
failed all at once, and I'm mad about it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That was you were ready to start breaking down walls of your apartment.
Oh, I was gonna, yeah. And if I didn't live in there with somebody else who would be greatly disappointed with me, I would have.
Right. Just level the place.
Yeah, my phone, it's 95 fucking degrees outside, and my phone is apparently too cold to charge. They told me that it's too cold to charge, which I found out is a like stupid common problem.
Yeah.
So then, I had to pay to, even though I have insurance, I had to pay to get a new like a deductible to get a new phone sent to me. And then I found out that I probably didn't need to do that. Like I could have just called because it's within the first 6 months that I've had the phone. Probably could have just called the phone manufacturer and they would have done the same thing.
Manufacturer warranty kind of thing.
So I had to like pay a deductible that I probably didn't need to pay, which would have been good if the dude that I talked to, and I'm not going to name his name, you fucking piece of shit,
of human garbage.
if they would have told me. But that's okay. I ain't mad though. But then like my Steam client wouldn't work again, which is something that happens to me every once in a while.
What was it doing?
Wouldn't connect to the network at all. Like the network was connected, but it wouldn't download. So I did literally every fix that I could find, and it still didn't fix the problem.
And it's always the same, like 8 fixes, like run it in administrator
exactly
mode,
right. Yeah,
or like restart the machine and try it again.
Go into your
turn off
firewall.
Windows Defender. Yeah, and all those things almost never work.
Changing your download region is another common fix.
Did that twice to 2 different regions that were nearby.
Right.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Finally, it just worked randomly. Sort of, somehow. I don't know how, but it did. One of the 18 fixes I tried worked.
I wonder if it was your ISP all along.
It might have been. That was like one of the first things I you know what I mean, I went through is like to see if there was an outage with Spectrum, but Time Warner Cable is now Spectrum.
Now Spectrum, yeah.
Redefining what autism can be. But yeah, it's really fucking frustrating to not have anything work.
There was something else.
Was there?
I thought there was. The phone, Steam, there was something else.
There was something else. I can't remember what it was.
Because it couldn't say everything.
Oh, it was my
unless
TV.
It was at least
my
3 things.
Fire Stick froze up on me too.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice. Not once, not thrice,
But twice.
but twice. Yeah. So I could even watch TV. Nothing in my life worked.
Nothing.
For like
all 3 things.
For like 2 solid hours, and then eventually 2 of them worked, but I had to pay money and to get one of them back to operational.
Yeah.
It's a big goddamn pain in the ass because then you got to like.
Was this a day? Well, it's a day off for you because basically every day right now is a
every
day
day
off
is a day
later.
off for me.
Yeah, before you start work. So, yeah, it's annoying on a day off.
Yeah.
It's annoying when you got some time to burn and you just can't do any of the things.
Can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really frustrating. But everything is better now. Everything is fine. We're good. Everything's transferred over. I was especially pissed off because when I wiped the memory on my old phone to mail it back, I was like, oh shit. I went through the phone transfer thing to like transfer everything. I'm like, I hope, because I was doing the Dude Cast today.
Right.
Like, I hope all my Who Said It Bests that I've spent a long time compiling are still there. And they are, thankfully.
Good.
So yeah, we'll still be able to play that famous game that everybody loves.
It's everyone's favorite game.
Yeah, everyone's favorite game.
Yeah. It's way better than that other piece of shit game.
Yeah, or joke of the week, which none of them were even my jokes. So.
Yeah, they were good though.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Remember the one about the Patty Black? Give the frog a loan. That was a good
His
one.
old man's a Rolling Stone.
His old man's a Rolling Stone.
That's a good one.
That is a good joke. I love that joke. Actually.
I'm kind of a fan of dumb puns with humongous buildups. One of the longest ones I've ever read ends in a really stupid pun based on well, I don't want to spoil it, but you might know what I'm talking about. It's the one about the snake in the desert.
I don't know.
And he's guarding he's guarding a lever just out in the middle of the desert. I don't know. I'll find it online and I'll link it to you guys.
We'll have to.
Can I try to tell a joke from memory I just read on Reddit recently?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to fuck this up because I've never tried to tell it. But anyway. So this is some guy's grandpa's favorite joke.
Oh, I just read this joke. Yeah.
Okay.
I like this is a good one. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll probably fuck it up. But there's this wrestler. We'll just say his name is John, right? And John is he was, a wrestler in high school, best in high school, never defeated, wrestled all the way up through, he's basically undefeated his whole career.
So we're talking real wrestling.
Yeah, like Greco-Roman wrestling, right? And he's basically top of his game. But then there's this Russian challenger. And he's also undefeated. And he's at the top of his game. And it's decided that they're going to have a match to see who's, the best, right?
Yeah.
And so, John's trainer is preparing him for this, for weeks on end. And he's telling him, whatever you do, don't let him get you in the Siberian death grip. Whatever you do, don't let him do that. If he gets you in the Siberian death grip, you're going to lose. Whatever you do, don't let him get you in the Siberian death grip. So the day finally comes. and the match starts. And they're sparring, they're, trying to get an angle, whatever, and John's trainer's on the sidelines biting his nails, right? And he sees the Russian wrestler gets him in the Siberian death grip. And it's like, it's all over. And the trainer can't even look. He's horrified. He looks away. And seconds later, he hears bell ring. He looks over, and John won. And so, the match is over, and John comes off to the side, and the trainer's talking to him, and he's saying, well, what happened? I'm sad to admit it. I'm embarrassed to admit, but when he got you in the Siberian death grip, I looked away. I couldn't watch. And John says, well, he got me in the death grip, and he just had me twisted and twisted. I've never been twisted so hard in my whole life. I was folded up like a pancake. He had me in the Siberian death grip, and at some point I opened my eyes, and what do I see in front of me but a pair of balls? So I bit him. And the coach says, well, God, John, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm pretty sure that's not legal. I think you should have been disqualified. And he says, Coach, you don't know the strength in you until you bit your own balls.
I read that too. That's a good joke. I think that joke made front page of Reddit.
It did. That's where I found it.
Yeah. Really cool.
I just love the idea because it really didn't occur to me until that very last line.
Really good. Really good.
I'm sure I told it all wrong, but it's
No,
basically...
you got it. Yeah, that's it. I got one for you. Okay. I just found out my grandpa has an addiction to Viagra. The family's taking it pretty good, but grandma's taking it pretty hard.
Not too bad.
Dave, why is Ben fucked?
I don't know, Ben. Why are you fucked?
Well, I could go into all the various reasons why I feel fucked.
Yeah.
But
You got words, don't you?
what's that?
You got words today, don't you?
I do, but I'm really ultimately the only person that can turn my week around. So I'm gonna tell y'all about the fact that I got into Street Fighter recently. Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition was $20 on the Steam sale, so I was like, fuck it. It's like all the characters and DLC and whatever, so I went ahead and got it.
Right.
And decided to seek out the help of Reddit and go searching for subreddits, and it turns out there's one specifically for new players in fighting games.
Okay.
And so I joined their Discord, and you hear a lot about. You hear and see on YouTube a lot about the fighting game community and
see
how well, yeah. If you've never watched like
Oh, the tournaments?
Smash players like throwing their controllers on the ground or like shoving their opponents.
Oh my God.
Like it gets pretty intense. But this the people in this Discord are super great and helpful.
Okay.
Not a single, alt-right dipshit in the bunch, every
nice.
Folks all have,
So no dark side fills or something floating around pissing everyone off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all of the regulars seem like, really chill people. They're always willing to answer my questions about the game and they're generally pretty funny. So it's nice, jumping into the community and finding that there's a lot of resources out there for a new player.
There used to be something similar in League of Legends, that toxic shit game, but there was like a really nice Summoner School type thing.
Yeah, Summoner School is really good.
Something positive in the middle of that giant fucking garbage heap of a game and community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So I'm pretty happy about it. It's because I'm awful at fighting games. I always have been. And Street Fighter, I don't know. I never like really learned to how to play Street Fighter. So now that I'm, actually getting into it, I don't know. It's something nice to kind of sink my teeth into and learn about. It's like what I used to do with World of Warcraft,
Mm-hmm.
something where there's so many dimensions to it that you can spend a lot of time learning about it and practicing and everything. And later on, Counter-Strike was the same thing. But also mainly it's nice. It's nice to be able to play a game online where I don't have a team that I risk, being the dead weight for.
No, dude, that's half the reason I don't want to play stuff.
Yeah.
Is like, especially if it's like a team.
Right.
And I'm the reason that the team can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
It really bums me out.
Yeah, me too. But in a fighting game, it's just me.
Yeah, right.
If I improve my skill, it's reflected in my ranking.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun so far.
Nice.
Runs really good on PC. It's got crossplay with the PlayStation 4, which is nice.
Oh, okay.
Those are the only two platforms it's on. It's not on Xbox for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, so it's still got a very, very large, very active player base because, obviously Street Fighter's never going to go anywhere.
Yeah, like whatever the latest Street Fighter is, people are playing Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far I'm looking at this one character, this Brazilian grappler character named Laura that I've been playing, and I want to learn some Sagat too.
Okay. This is very not fucked.
It's pretty not fucked.
It sounds very unfucked.
It's given me something to,
Not be fucked about.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's not been a great week for me. So I'm gonna try and focus on, good things and just turn it around.
I feel that. I don't know. I'm trying to like basically find myself in a more positive place too. I vacillate wildly.
Yeah,
And I have periods of time where I'm just like dead inside. And then there's times where I'm like really, really excited, and I can't always necessarily track like why. I don't know. I got like 10 hours of sleep last night. Like seriously, I got like
good.
an insane amount of sleep. Like Christy had to be up at 7.
yeah.
So like we laid down in bed at like 11 o'clock, and I slept until 9 o'clock.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm feeling like pretty.
Pretty.
But I am fucked for reasons, I'll have you know.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually fucked because I'm going slowly insane. And I'll tell you why. Because we have the gnats again. It's summertime again.
We're getting ants.
That's every year. Listen back to the podcast from last year in July or August, and you'll hear this constantly.
Yeah. Right.
And it's happening again. The poor dog over there is getting uncomfortable just hearing it. He stopped licking his butt. He rarely does that. Because the thing is, now it's at the point where I'm doing this around the house all the time, and I know it's not healthy. And I'm like, Christy, I know I look crazy. And she goes, yeah, you look super crazy. But I'm like walking around like fucking Elmer Fudd with my hands up in the air.
Super crazy. Super. I'm sorry.
No, it's,
Do you still have that electric tennis racket?
dude, I can't fucking find it.
Oh, I finally found mine.
Somewhere around here.
They always get lost. They're never there when you need them.
Exactly.
I'll bet you anything it's behind one of the couches upstairs.
I moved the couches recently because I had to swap their positions because the one broke, and it's more convenient for the broken part to be on the outside corner instead of the inside corner.
Yeah.
But I didn't find it, and I didn't find it in my office, and I couldn't find it down here or in the garage or on the back porch or and on top of the China hutch. I can't find it. The China hutch. But I will tell you, last night before I took a shower, I stood in my underwear in the bathroom, clapping at them, and killed like 8 of them.
Oh, yeah.
And it felt so good. And then I saw a bunch more when I got out, and the dogs are tired of it. They like start to get uncomfortable because I'm going around hitting things with towels or like clapping things. So once again, it is the summer of the gnats, and they're going to come back every year for the rest of my life, and I'm never going to be rid of them.
Fuck you. That's why.
Fuck you. I thought about getting a bug bomb.
Yeah.
But those, I don't think that those, I don't think that those work that well.
They don't. Yeah, not for gnats.
Yeah. So I just, it's unstoppable.
There's very little you can do. Yeah, we get them sometimes too.
Right.
Usually because I'm like ripening bananas to make banana bread.
Right.
So
You doing like a paper bag kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they just hover around the pig.
Yeah, it happens. Okay, so I know like when we got back from our honeymoon, something died in somebody's apartment somewhere.
Oh my God.
Because our entire apartment building got infested with flies.
No.
So we came back to our apartment after our honeymoon and there were like 15 flies just flying around.
Don't like that.
And for like 4 or 5 months we kept finding
And
flies.
those buildings all share the vents, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever someone else has got, you're gonna have to deal
Everywhere, because like we asked one of our neighbors, like, "Are you having problems with flies?" And she's like, "Yes." Like everybody's having problems. So I have 4 fly swatters in my house that I can never find when I need them.
Nope.
They're gone. Fortunately, now I haven't really had one in there for a while.
Yeah.
Have you guys
Yeah.
considered investing in frogs?
Investing. Yes, I'd like 300 shares of frogs, please.
Buy. We gotta buy more frogs.
Buy frogs. Buy. Sell. Buy. Sell. Buy frogs. Sell mosquitoes. Wait. Reverse it.
Strike that.
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
You can eat them when you're done.
Yeah, the frog.
Yeah,
The frog,
No,
yeah.
the mosquitoes.
Yeah, you can eat the frog anytime.
Yeah, no, you keep the frog. You eat the mosquitoes.
Yeah, right. Take that frog, throw him right out.
Take the cannoli.
Leave the frogs. Take the cannoli.
Buy. Sell. Buy.
Buy.
The thing is, everyone tells you to make these little vinegar traps.
Yeah.
You know, when you take like a little conical thing.
Little vinegar traps.
They're all over my house. And they smell weird. I don't like them. They're little gnat graveyards when they work right.
Yes, they are.
But they don't. The gnats don't fall for it. It drives me nuts. I've done it multiple times, and I just never really get any.
Yeah. Well,
So
Anyway.
that's kind of why I'm. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah. So I'm slowly going insane,
Yeah. Well,
and there seems to be no end to it.
there's, that's not that far out of the norm for you. It's
I know. It's always
going
something
insane.
obsessive.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter what it is.
No, you're just.
If there weren't gnats, I'd be doing something else. You know. Short story, not related. Leroy almost murdered a cat recently.
Oh, yeah?
That was horrible.
oh boy.
We let him out one night. He ran out into the yard. There was a cat there. He chased it back into the porch, threw the porch back and forth, out and around the yard again. It came back into the porch, jumped up my blinds, climbed up and stuck in the corner while we tried to drag him away from it. And then it booked it out of the yard.
Oh my god.
And he was at any given moment a foot behind murdering a cat.
Cat shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. It shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Now it knows.
Hey, people. yeah. Hopefully it knows. Hey, people, don't let your fucking cats outside.
Seriously, my dog will eat it.
They shit in everybody's bushes and
You're right.
they're fucking annoying.
Yeah, and they stand in your windows and they watch you naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. That ever happen? Does that ever happen to you? You tired of cats watching you naked in the window all the time? I hate it. I'm sick of it.
I was fighting Gravelord Nito in Dark Souls last night,
Okay.
and Aubrey was watching.
Yeah.
I started singing, "It wasn't I that the skeletons came to life." it's been stuck in her head all day now.
Bones are their money.
But if they pull it out, they turn to bones. That's my favorite line for the whole thing.
No one knows what that is.
Yeah, if the skeletons pull your hair out, they turn to bones. Which is what they already are. What a goofy song. We've already recommended it. Watch I Think You Should Leave. It's time.
Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Whatever. Hey.
So why don't we take a little break and then we'll come back with Who Said It Best?
Who said it?
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Thanks for listening. Hold on.
Bye. Welcome to the Three Dude Podcast. Hey. Yeah.
You can find us at 3dudecast.com.
If you're wondering whether that's spelled with the numeral 3 or the word 3, the answer is yes.
We're so proud of ourselves.
We're so clever. We're such clever boys.
Wow. We've switched hosting to Podbean. You can still find us on iTunes and Google Play. So give us a like.
Yeah, give us a like, give us a listen, give us a review somewhere.
Give us a sandwich.
Give us a high five.
Give us sponsorships.
Please give us a hug.
Give us that money.
Num 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 num.
Ooh, hot, 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 hot. Ooh, hot, 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 hot.
Hot, 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 hot,
Ooh, hot, 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 hot. Ooh, ooh. Hot, 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 hot.
Ooh, it's too hot.
Ooh, hot, 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 hot.
Stupid.
Stupid, dumb. Anyway, hi everybody, we're back.
Yes.
Hey,
Yo.
do you guys know what time it is?
I think I do.
Do you?
I
don't know if you do or not.
I thought I did. Maybe I don't.
It's time for us to play that game that everybody knows and loves. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Right. It's time for Trues and Fnews. This is so dumb.
Hey! It's time for Who Said It Best!
Yay!
I actually get to do that in person, so it works now.
Yeah, right. So good.
The classic game that everybody loves and enjoys.
Everyone likes it.
Everyone likes it. It's not just some bullshit that I made up that's only fun for me.
No, that's good.
Everybody likes it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, gentlemen, need I remind you of the record that we have so far?
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't realize we were keeping tally.
Oh, I'm keeping tally.
Okay.
Son,
Okay.
never you worry. Who Said It Best is that famous game in which I give you a quote and count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Why, that's 5.
Possible quotees that could have said the quote. It's up to you to make the decision, the educated guess as to which person or character that I name you. Could be a real person, could be a character, could be a cartoon,
Okay.
anything.
Now, what's the score right now?
So the score right now for Who Said It Best is yours truly with 3 wins.
Oh,
And Dave, you have 1.
wait. How do you win?
I win by fooling you both.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I win by fooling you both. If one of you wins, you get a point. If you both win, you both get a point, and I get nothing. So I have to beat both of you to get a point, which is why there's 5 answers.
Oh,
As I said before, 4 is good, 5 is better.
you really thought about the math.
I did think about the math. Do
R
the
slash
math.
they did the math.
R/ I did the math. So
Okay.
let's start with a
Let's start with potent potables, please.
potent potables. We'll start with a nice, warm, easy one. All right.
That's a nice, warm, easy one.
The Chris Brady story.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just a nice, warm, easy one.
gentlemen.
All right.
Who said it best when they said, I think that inside every adult is the heart of a child. We just gradually convince ourselves that we have to act more like adults. Was that A, Fred Rogers, host of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and all-around good guy? Was that B, creative fellow and head developmental director, I think is his official title, Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Mario and his Zelda? Was that C, character actor and comedian Robin Williams? D,
You fucking asshole. You stacked them up.
Muppet and Sesame Street creator Jim Henson? Or E, Dr. Seuss?
Oh, fuck. You put all the ones that it might be. You put all together there.
Yeah. That's why it's a hard game, Dave.
Oh my God. Yeah, that is why it's a hard game. Ben, do you have any inklings? I have my go-to here.
I think honestly it's A. I think it's Fred Rogers.
I also think it's A.
You know what? I'm going to make a rule here because you both try and outsmart me. I will give you 2 points and I will have prizes.
Oh, prizes.
I will have prizes at the end of the season. Since I started this in the middle of this season, I
Right.
think I'm going to wait until next season. I will give out prizes for the top
So you're going to
scores.
give yourself a bottle of champagne for winning?
If you can beat me. If
Nobody
you can
else
stump the dump.
wins. Nobody else wins.
Nobody else wins. But don't feel like you have to. You could both be right.
Right.
You can both get the point for this.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like it's A.
Can you read the quote one more time?
Yeah.
The quote is, I think that inside every adult is the heart of a child. We just gradually convince ourselves that we have to act more like adults. Once again, your options are Fred Rogers, Shigeru Miyamoto, Robin Williams. Oh, God. Sorry, phone went dead. Jim Henson or Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay with A.
I'm changing to C. I'm changing Robin Williams.
You're changing to Robin Williams?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will start with.
How's this work?
Let's start with Ben.
Okay.
Ben, you said that the quote that I read before was from Robin Williams. That is incorrect. Not correct. Not correct.
I kind of knew because you picked me first.
Well, no, like I said last time, I will. If you get it right, sometimes I might start with you. So like I want to, but
You gotta keep the dramatic element.
Got to keep the dramatic element.
Right.
But that
That doesn't mean I got it either.
that does not mean that you got it either. You said that it was A, Fred Rogers.
sure
And I would
did.
remind everybody that the quote is, I think that inside every adult is the heart of a child. We just gradually convince ourselves that we have to act more like adults. Dave, you are incorrect.
You fucking
You are wrong.
fuck you, boo.
So let's just go ahead and add another tally.
Sorry, yelling into the microphone.
Boo! You suck.
I don't like it. Yeah.
The actual quote
Oh my god.
was said by B, Shigeru Miyamoto, creative fellow at Nintendo.
No shit.
Just a little brief aside here about Shigeru Miyamoto. He was originally hired to Nintendo in the planning department, and he went on to become Nintendo's first artist, eventually designing Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong. He would also become, this is the sad part, he would become temporary CEO of Nintendo, which is a role that he personally stated he never wanted to take. But he became temporary CEO in Nintendo's time of need after Satoru Iwata's untimely death in 2015.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
What's up with Reggie?
Reggie's retired.
He retired.
He retired.
Who's in there now?
Bowser.
Doug Bowser.
right.
Bowser.
That's right.
Yeah.
Fucking Bowser's running
is
Nintendo.
President of Nintendo of
President
America.
of Nintendo.
What a
Reggie.
twist of fate. What an incredible twist of fate.
So, let me delete that from the
God, you son of a bitch.
archive.
How many of these do we have again?
There's 2 per episode.
Oh.
Because I have a bunch of them and they're fun.
Okay.
So, let me go back here.
Oh my god. I just, there's nobody wins.
Nobody ever wins.
I have 1 point, right?
You have 1 point. Ben does not have any yet.
All right.
I have 4 as of right now.
This is the one. You're going to put it on the board.
So, that we started with the easy one. It's time.
Yeah, there's another.
Started with
There's
the easy
another one. So let's go with a little bit trickier one, or what I think is a little bit trickier one.
Okay.
Gentlemen
All right.
and listeners, if you're playing along at home, who said it best when they said, if I could change one thing about society, I would abolish selling tomato paste in cans? Was that A, internet personality John Boys? Was that B, chef extraordinaire from the 90s, Emeril Lagasse?
Ooh.
Was that C, Dr. Fraser Crane from Frasier and Cheers? Was that D, Andrew Rhea, also known as Babish from the YouTube show Binging with Babish? Or was that E, one Miss Peggy Hill from King of the Hill?
I want to hear that specific phrasing again.
Specific phrasing?
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
hear that again.
If I could change one thing about society, I would abolish selling tomato paste in cans. Your options, once again, are John Boys, Emeril Lagasse, Fraser Crane, Binging with Babish, or Peggy Hill.
Okay. I'm going to rule out Peggy Hill right now.
Okay.
Peggy Hill's fine with tomato paste in cans. In fact, there's no other way.
Yeah.
That's my process of elimination here. I don't think Emeril Lagasse gives a shit because we're talking about tomato paste. Maybe he does.
Maybe he does.
Maybe he does.
Maybe he doesn't.
I don't think Babish cares. Babish is picky about a lot of things, but tomato paste, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I'm saying Babish.
You're
You're saying Babish?
Yeah.
Ben's locked in with Babish.
Locked in with Babish, a new series from Andrew Ray.
Or is Babish locked in with you?
That's pretty good deductive reasoning you got there, dude.
I don't know that I probably eliminated one correct one already, but this is just where this is where it's coming from, right? This is
That's okay.
behind the scenes here.
Try to get it right. I'll remind you of the quote again.
Yeah.
If I could change one thing about society, I would abolish selling tomato paste in cans.
It feels like something John Boyce would say,
Okay.
and not mean it. It has his kind of ring to it. Who's my middle option?
Your middle option is Fraser Crane. from
Fraser
Frasier.
fucking Crane. Snooty enough, but I think that's why you put him on the list. I know I hate this. There's too many options.
I know. That's the point. That's why it's hard.
That's why it's hard. I am going to say it is John Boyce. I'm going A again.
Okay.
It feels like John Boyce to me.
Okay.
I don't think it's Emeril Lagasse. I don't think it's Frasier. I think it's you put Frasier on there because it feels like Frasier. And similarly, Andrew Ray feels like Frasier because Andrew Ray loves Frasier. And Peggy Hill don't give a shit. That's my reasoning. I'm probably wrong. I don't care. I've sussed it out. This is what I believe.
So I have to ask you because you took so long deducing it. Is that final answer?
That is a final. That's a final answer.
Yeah.
A.
Locked in. Final answer, and you're saying Babish.
I'm saying Babish.
This fucker's gonna win again.
Dave, when you said that John Boyce said, if I could change one thing about society, I would abolish selling tomato paste in cans, you were correct. Which means, Ben, you were incorrect.
Shit.
That it was Babish. Very good guess. Very, very good guess.
Oh my god.
So Dave gets another point. Yes. So John Boyce, as you might know, is a head writer at SB Nation. This quote was taken from an episode of The Fumble Dimension in which John and Kofi try and create the worst golf course ever. It's a really funny episode. They basically had people design the course for them on Twitter.
Sure.
And there's just cows all over the place and buildings in the middle of the course in this game that they're playing. So John Boyce is so far behind in strokes that he just starts talking about cooking.
Just starts muttering philosophically about cooking.
Yeah. So he just and it goes on for way too long, and that's one of the things that he says in there.
John Boyce, the creator of 1770-76.
Yes. And among other things, including the Mariners, the 6-part documentary series they did on the Mariners, which is exquisite, and the 2-parter 3 hours worth of the Bob Emergency, which is a little mini documentary that I've recommended on here before about famous Bobs in sports.
Yeah, the decline of Bobs.
Yes. So, we've talked about him 1,000 times. This is not an early recommendation. You should go check out SB Nation. You should go check out everything that John Boyce has ever done because it's infinitely interesting.
This is a tweet today that someone shared about him saying the reason that no one argues with me about sports is because I know all the cuss words, including fuck and shit. So when someone starts to argue, I just say, what the fuck is that or something like that.
They're like, they know he beats business.
People shaking their boots when they hear shit like that.
Well done, David.
That's
your second win.
I feel powerful.
But I'm still ahead, unfortunately.
But I'll tell you what, you were ahead by 2.
Yep.
Now you're ahead by 2.
Yeah. That's right.
Got him.
Got him. Well done. So,
yeah.
In the vein of infinitely interesting things, the topic that I have been so excited about today that I've had kind of cooking in the books for the last couple weeks now is Mindblowers. Oh. I want to talk about mind-blowing facts.
Okay, great. I have none.
So any of the most interesting information that things that are hard to comprehend, really wild out there kind of facts. Anything, Ben, I figured you'd be really good at this because I'm sure there's a couple pieces of really.
Hey, did you guys know that Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy? He had a secretary named Lincoln. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Here's a mind-blowing fact. Donald Trump is a pedophile.
There's actually some reason to think that.
Yes.
For me, it's beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
he's
You think him, hanging out with the
the dude definitely has fucked 12 to 18-year-olds.
Jeff Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? Is that
Yeah.
the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's true.
that and the court affidavits that came out
Yeah.
saying that Donald Trump has fucked children.
Yeah.
We have
That
God,
everyone ignored.
we really stepped in like the biggest pile of dog shit, and then like half the country was like, "I like stepping in dog shit."
Yeah, it's fine. It's fucking,
You're not an American if you don't like stepping in dog. And then this year they're gonna take off their shoes and socks, and they're like, "I love stepping in dog shit. We should never not be stepping in dog shit." Like that's the country.
Yeah, I know. My country, 'tis of thee.
A mind-blowing fact.
I'll start us off. I have a couple prepared just in case. I prepared for like if you guys were like, I don't have anything. I prepared a couple.
Yeah,
So
I think we could dig some up.
I want to start with the Googleplex.
The Googleplex.
Do you guys know what the Googleplex is?
You don't mean Google's campus?
No.
It's a one with a million zeros after it, right?
Correct. Well, okay, so
original Google.
that's a Google. A Googleplex is that times a Google with a multiple of a Google.
Oh, it's like a Google squared.
Yeah, so it's like a Google Googled, if that makes sense. So the number of Google is a one with
A billion zeros?
a billion zeros, I think it is,
think
or
it's
a
a
million,
billion.
or a million. I can't remember what it is.
I thought it was a million zeros.
I think it's a million. I think it's a one with a million zeros,
I will fight you with my bare hands.
which is an enormous number.
Okay, yeah.
So the Googleplex is basically. I was really fascinated with some of this. Like deep space stuff and really high concept math for
Yeah.
a while there, about a month ago.
Yeah, right.
Which is where I thought of this. And I actually, it's one of those things that's very hard to imagine because a Google in itself, if you started writing that out,
Yeah.
is a very, very large number that would take you a long time to.
And even just the number is an abstraction of what that actually is in terms of quantity.
Correct. Now, a Googleplex would actually take. It's impossible for us to quantify it. We cannot write it out as its whole. We have to Google.
Scientific notation.
We have to scientifically notate it as a Google by a Google.
Yeah.
Because it would take us, if I remember correctly, it's millions upon millions of years to actually write it. If we started writing that number out now, it would take us millions.
like by hand?
By hand, it would take us millions and millions and millions of years to actually write it. So the best way that I have ever heard a Googleplex described is if we can actually, and I have to precurse this with some universe knowledge.
Okay.
We can measure the universe. We know, ostensibly how large the universe is. We
Yeah.
know that there is a boundary to it, and we know that it stops at some point.
Do we know what shape it is?
Kind of. It's a disc shape.
Okay.
It's a disc shape with a large, what they imagine is a super large black hole in the middle.
Yeah, right.
That kind of funnels out on both sides in the center, but it is disc shaped.
Okay.
And it goes out. It stretches pretty infinitely. But we can measure it. We know that there is, at least from what we can see, there is a line where the universe stops as we know it.
Or at least where we can stop seeing.
Right. Now that number, it's somewhere in the ballpark of 16 billion light years, if I remember correctly.
like across?
like measurement light years, yeah.
Okay.
From where we're at, where we look in any direction, it would be 16 billion light years because there's a scientific explanation for how you, depending on where you're at, are the center of your focal point, basically.
Okay.
So you can look out in any direction and see 16 billion light years out ahead of you because
Okay.
of the way that light works. If we lived in a universe that was a Googleplex billion light years in any direction,
Yeah.
and this is the best way I've ever heard this number described, the universe would be so large that it would be impossible for you to not run into several thousand exact copies of yourself on planets. There would be exact replicas of our solar system with
Yeah.
exact copies of yourself.
This is because, given the nature of the randomization of events,
Yeah.
but how much raw material there is to work with.
Right. There would be so much infinite space
Yeah.
that would still have an ending at some point,
Yeah.
but there would be so much space that there would be several distinct copies, direct, exact copies of this solar system and us as we exist now, doing this very thing.
That's fucking ridiculous to think about, first of all.
Yeah. Which like I heard that there's a YouTube channel that's basically MIT, like teachers at MIT.
Yeah.
And they try and simplify big math equations for for people on the interweb.
Yeah.
And they did a thing about the Googleplex, and they tried to explain it, and that is the best that I've ever heard that quantified.
That is like impossible to fathom.
It is so mind blowing to me that it's like. And it's a measurable number. We can actually, it's impossible for us to write it all out, but it is a number that we know that exists.
Basically, numbers so big that we can't even write them down are still real numbers.
Right.
Like
it's not infinity.
Yeah.
It exists and it has a mathematical limit.
Right.
But it's so large that, you know what I mean?
This is
several of us doing this exact thing right now. If the universe was that big, this would be happening again thousands of times over.
So this is an extension of the rationale behind which we know that there's almost definitely other intelligent, races like
Correct.
ourselves out somewhere in the stars. Because given enough given enough space, and enough matter, and enough rolls of the dice, it'll happen again.
It'll happen. Yeah.
It's just.
And the thing is, we already live in a universe where that is almost certainly, like, they can mathematically state with some certainty that there's almost definitely life out there somewhere, or there was life, or there will be life somewhere, because it's so massive.
This is when you talk about mind-blowing things, even just trying to wrap your head around how many years this planet has been here, and how many different ages of life have existed within it. Like, you ever drop into the Wikipedia page on like just start at the the Cretaceous period or something. Just drop into some era,
and then end up somehow at Adolf Hitler.
right. Yeah, 6 degrees from Adolf Hitler.
We are so insignificant in the timeline of just this planet.
That's the thing that blows my mind.
Like, measurably only in the last 300,000 years or so have there been
humans?
Yeah.
I mean, like, recorded history is 10,000 years old.
Yeah.
Human history, I think you're right, is
300,000 years, somewhere in that ballpark.
The way I've heard it described is that if the history of the Earth were a calendar year, humans would have been here for the past couple hours.
Yeah.
Right. Like
something
like the
like
last
that.
hour or two of an entire year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
it's
is
weird.
nuts.
It's unbelievable. It's the same thing with how much of the Earth is like the crust, the part of the Earth that we regularly interact with versus how deep the planet is.
Yeah.
It's things like that where I'm just like, we are nothing.
Yeah, complete nothing.
It makes it all the more impressive when you think about all the times that Bugs Bunny dug his way to China.
Yeah. With a shovel.
Was it Looney Tunes where they went to the center of the Earth and then because of the lack of gravity pulling it in direction, they just kind of bounced around in there for a while? It was like an empty hole in the middle and they just settle out in the middle.
Yeah. It's wild to think about how utterly and completely insignificant humanity is.
Yeah, it really is.
I was going to say, to quote Russian great Ilya Brizgalov, and we think we have problems here. It's like nothing.
So don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Be happy. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things that really gets into my head is this very, very narrow sliver of existence that constitutes human civilization.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're able to reconstruct on some level, mathematically and theoretically, what had to come before us.
Oh yeah, it's nuts.
It's impossible to get my head around. You like to think, oh yeah, I kind of get science. No, I kind of science makes sense to me.
Yeah. if science and math was explained to me in high school, the way it is when I watch dumb,
like on YouTube,
dumb videos on YouTube, I would have been a mathematician, because it's so fucking fascinating. Some of the stuff that, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And human history, just think about all the amazing things that have happened during our lifetime, and think about that, compared to the dinosaurs were nothing. I mean, they were around for millions and millions and millions of years.
Right.
Millions. And with without us here. I'll give you another one. When we were at the you can go to the Natural History Museum in DC, the Smithsonian. Early humans. The first time I saw this, as an adult, last time we were in DC, I'd been there before, and I was like, whatever, this is stupid history shit because I was still in high school, or I think middle school at the time.
It's so sad how little you appreciate at that age.
But then we went there a couple years ago, and we went to the Smithsonian, and they showed an evolutionary timeline of humanity, and they have reconstructions of what early humans looked like. And there's they were fucking little shrimps. They were short. They were this tall. It's
early humans?
Yeah, they're the 3 feet tall. They're little fucking.
Well, yeah. Considering the common ancestry we share with what's around right now.
Yeah,
we couldn't start this big.
No.
Well, I guess we could have, and then they could have shrunk, but that doesn't seem like that's how that happens.
They showed an early race of upright walking. Homo, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Way early in our timeline. And they're I remember I almost bumped into it when we were walking through the exhibit.
Oh, sorry, little guy.
Because it's just right out in the middle of the thing. And I went, oh my God, holy shit. I'm and my wife was an anthropology major. So I'm looking at her, I'm like, you fucking believe that? And she's like, yeah, I know. It's I know this dumbass. It's not, but it's so fucking crazy that. That used to be us. We were just these little tiny chimp people.
It is really fascinating.
Yeah.
The early people. I mean, and of course, there's I think technically before we were upright humans, you might still. I mean, I'm not sure. This is not my area of expertise, but I feel what we call human emerged possibly before we were fully upright.
Yeah.
So then you have these knuckle dragging little people.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
That are still people.
But they're short. They're little shrimpy kind of dudes.
It's so shrimpy
weird.
Guys.
But the thing, you watch all those I remember watching in science class, they would show documentaries about early humans. They're all because they got actors to play them. They're all normal, upright, walking people. They don't show you. They don't tell you that shit. They don't tell you we used to be little shrimps.
Right.
Little kids. You can just take their lunch money and kick them. And
all the pictures you kind of scale up in your head because you just go, well, they're people like us. So what looks like a little guy must be a little bit taller.
And I don't know. It took me. It's so stupid. It took me well after school to be amazed by that and
well it's funny too because that anecdotally people are getting taller and all that, but so in the last say 100 years or something we're on average a foot taller or something like that, maybe more.
And
then just think that's just the last 100 years or something, so there must be something happening, it must be speeding up as well.
I would honestly credit it to better nutrition and better health.
Nutrition has
overall.
a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, they didn't have McDonald's back there.
That's right. They didn't have that calorie packing McDouble
with one slice of sad cheese
and 2 pickles that are on the same side of the fucking sandwich.
McDouble watch. Bringing it back for 2020.
Let's do it again. I'm not done. They seriously put the pickles all on one side. It's like this spite sandwich. Stuff like that blows my mind for sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
I'll tell you one that I think is really, really interesting is those bugs that zombify other bugs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that? So I can't remember what they are. I wish I had more information. But
don't they fungicize?
They'll basically stick into the brain of another bug.
Yeah.
And then fill it with eggs and then force it to drown itself.
Ugh.
Where the eggs will hatch in the pond and then come out of its dead body.
Yeah.
One of the
metal.
There's one species that does that where it'll infect bugs and worms and stuff, force them to climb to higher ground, on leaves and branches and stuff, so they'll be eaten by birds. The parasite then lays eggs which germinate in the bird's feces, and that's where it reproduces.
That to me as far as like things that evolved as like weaponry systems,
Yeah.
that's hacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R/nature is metal.
Nature is incredibly metal. Nature is like a cyberpunk like hacker. And it can just take over other bodies and do whatever it wants.
The pictures of those bugs like taking over creatures is just it's amazing because it's this thing, and then this like weird alien growth kind of forms around the thing.
Yeah.
And you can see it's got these dead eyes now.
Right? It's just like kill.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Kill.
like in Independence Day, fucking date up again. Release me. You know what I mean? It's just so fucking wild.
How did anything evolve that ability?
I don't know.
It's stupefying.
It is stupefying.
And I say this like with the full knowledge that like I feel like a lot of the times if you believe that the world evolved, that people who don't are just kind of like, well, you don't get it, so it must not be like it seems impossible, so it probably is impossible, you dumbass. And I'm just like, no, the fact that I don't get it doesn't make it any less amazing that it happened,
right?
Or less likely that it happened.
No, it just means that I can't comprehend it.
Yeah, I'm dumb. There's lots of stuff I don't know.
That's kind of exactly what I want to get to at this topic is things that are just so incomprehensible to your dumb animal brain.
Right.
That some people who are smarter than you have tried to explain, but even they don't get it all the way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, right.
Do you guys know anything about the Butte's Void in space?
The Butte's
Butte's
Void?
Void, I think is what it is.
The butt void?
The butt void.
I know all about the butt void.
So it's basically this gigantic. Okay, you've seen the famous picture of the Hubble Space Telescope, right? Where they
The deep field.
the
image.
deep field, yeah.
yeah.
And then they did the super deep field like 8 years later,
Yeah.
which was even farther, and that's where we could see basically to the edge of the universe, where it's all just coming at us as infrared light. I think the earliest object we've observed is about 30,000 years old at the time that we're seeing it through the Hubble Deep Field.
No shit.
And it's just this little tiny, like when you look at the Hubble Deep Field, all those little specks of red, kind of cloudy looking light, that's from all the way out at the end of the universe.
Right.
That's like, it's only coming back to us in infrared.
Right.
So there's a little, if you look at that, there's this zone called the Butte's Void, which you can see, and it's about 60 million light years across, if I'm getting that number right.
Okay.
And it's an area of space that is, everywhere else there's this big gigantic stockpile of galaxies, except for this space. Whereas there's like hundreds of thousands and millions of galaxies if you take one small square inch of this photo.
Yeah.
In that one little square inch,
Yeah.
there's about 50 or 60 in this little square
Just
inch.
an inexplicable void.
Just an inexplicable void in space, and we don't know why.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Yeah, it's obviously Galactus
There's like
going around eating planets.
there's like I've heard explanations like there's the very large black hole in the way,
Yeah.
and we just can't see past that because light doesn't escape a black hole, which itself is fucking amazing to me.
Yeah.
But like we can't explain it. There's just no reason that this big empty void should exist out.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be like that.
I wish I had more on this than that, but like it's just this gigantic,
That's Mindblower.
incredible region of space that we have no idea why it's empty. And we can't see anything. We know that there's galaxies there because we can see them,
But there's just not enough.
but there's not enough. like there's just nowhere near enough. But
ain't
it ain't enough.
It ain't enough.
I got one for you.
Okay.
How about the fact that ice, like water ice as we know it,
Like the Border Patrol ice.
ice, of course, of the vanilla variety, ice in different temperature states and at higher pressures goes from solid to liquid again.
What?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what they call it. I believe it's called Ice 7. I'm not sure. They have a name for it.
Oh, I've heard of this, weirdly enough, in a video game
I'm sure.
about where
Someone's going to have to fact check me because I'm 90% sure of this.
9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, it's called.
But basically, what we experience of like ice, water becoming ice at our pressures and our temperatures, that's ice here and under the conditions we can generate it.
Yeah.
At much, much higher pressures. And I think temperature is also involved. I think it's also got to be even colder.
Yeah.
Ice reverts back into a liquid state.
Whoa.
Which we'll never observe. As far as I know, I don't think we can create those conditions. But like not here.
Right.
But I think that we know that it does, and I don't know how. I think it happens on other planets in our solar system, even.
Huh. That's crazy. Neptune would be like the leader for that.
Probably.
Yeah, but it's
I'll bet because it's a gas giant, I bet the closer you get into the core, we're
talking about like
higher the pressure is.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring up Jupiter for a minute. I had to look it up to make sure I was getting the planet correct.
Jupiter's sweet.
Jupiter, they believe that the core of Jupiter is an Earth-sized suspended core where the pressure is so infinite that it's raining diamonds.
Oh yeah, I've heard that before.
Because it's such a large gas giant.
Carbon is actually pressurized enough
that it's raining diamonds in the core of Jupiter. Like you could just hypothetically, they believe you could reach your hand out and get these gigantic diamonds.
Sign me up, right, boys? Right, boys?
The Great Red Spot
Yeah.
is a giant hurricane the size of this planet.
That's so fucking scary.
Its diameter is the diameter of planet Earth.
And it's just going infinitely.
It's still, it's going. It's been going for God knows how
winding
long.
around the planet.
Centuries.
Oh man.
They also believe that Venus was once Earth-like. It was inhabitable. And for a brief period of time, it looked like Earth.
And then socialists took over.
Right, hey liberals.
Thanks for ruining Venus for everyone.
Yeah,
Charlie Kirk.
like when the sun was very young.
Yeah.
They're almost. I don't want to say they're almost positive. It's speculated, and there's a lot of scientists that are pretty sure.
Seems likely, at least,
that Venus looked like Earth with rivers and forests and like greenery, like you know what I mean.
Part of the sun's like journey as a star is that it expanded, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it gets larger, and at some point it will start to not have enough energy to continue to do that, right?
Right, and then compress and get hotter and
collapse.
brighter and
Right,
collapse into supernova.
But that early expansion, bringing that closer to those inner planets, must have had like a measurable.
So
effect
that's what they think happened. It was this brief moment in time where there was liquid water on Venus, and they suspect there would have been life, and it would have looked very similar to Earth. But because the greenhouse effect got so strong as the sun grew, it completely decimated the ozone layer of Venus and completely burned out the surface, which is why it looks like it does now. They've tried. I think they unsuccessfully landed something on Venus's surface.
Yeah.
And they tried to heat pressurize it to get what they could, and they actually have a photo of it entering, like I think on the ground or close to the ground.
Okay.
So they have a picture of it right before the camera failed and the transmission ended, like it just because it got too hot.
Yeah, I can imagine how fucking hot it is.
But they did everything they could to shield it, and we did get a pretty good.
Someone from Arizona chimes in and goes, "Oh, you think that's hot?"
But yeah, they got like a picture of it, and just based on this picture, they found out a lot about the planet.
Yeah,
and that was one of the things is that they speculated that it did at one point have liquid water on it.
You guys ever heard of a Dyson sphere?
Yeah, because of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Because of James Dyson.
There's an episode where they find a Dyson sphere.
That's cool. I think I understand what it is, but I only recently came across the idea of this Dyson sphere because there was an article on Reddit again about like a sci-fi history of like mega structures.
Yeah.
Or like like ring worlds and things like that. Just impossibly big structures in space.
A Dyson sphere, is it like a fourth dimensional sphere?
A Dyson sphere is essentially, if I understand it correctly, a structure deliberately put around a star. The idea of which being that you gather energy from it, either like, by solar means or something else like that. And you gather enough power that you basically take almost all of its energy and convert it into something else.
In Next Generation, the Dyson sphere they found was surrounding a planet rather than a star.
Oh, okay. It's probably the same, to be honest. But the application I saw for it was like harnessing solar energy or something like that.
There's a great there's a great joke article on the SCP wiki, where as you read it, it becomes clear that the SCP it's describing is the sun.
Oh yeah,
and they mentioned trying to build a containment apparatus for it, but mentioning that it would require more materials than can be found on planet Earth.
yeah.
That reminds me of that great short story called "They're Made of Meat."
Oh yeah,
These two aliens are basically on a ship, and they're saying, "Sir, we've gotten the results, and it appears that they're made out of meat." Someone goes, "What? My God, what are you talking about?" And he's, "Yes, they're made of meat, and there's essentially like sticks within the meat that they use to puppet their meat around, and they blow meat through their meat holes to make noises to communicate." And as it goes on and on, you realize we're talking about us.
Human. Yeah, right. They're made of meat.
Sir, they're made of meat. My God.
My God.
delicious.
Very, very delicious meat. Yeah, I don't know. I'm struggling to think of things just off the top of my head. Most of science really blows my mind.
Yeah.
One thing I can never ever really figure out, even though, we all get how computers work, right? But down at the really, really base level, do you really
No.
when you think about how it goes from everything is a matter of this is on or off or both on or only one is on, like logic gates, all the way back to the very basics behind computing. I cannot go from there all the way up to how BIOS works. I can't get from there into how anything actually works.
I don't know the languages, like assembly languages, where actual software talks to the processor, but it makes sense to me. It's just the sheer capacity. It was one of the things I've been thinking this whole time, and I came up with 4 things that blow my mind. That's one of them. Just based on the fact that for any given processor, it's like the way it was explained to me was imagine a man in a box.
Okay.
And he has 8 lights in front of him.
Yeah.
And a manual telling him what the different combinations of lights mean when they light up. That's a byte.
Okay.
That's 8 bits of data.
Sure.
1 for on, 0 for off. Now imagine that's happening across however many channels. There's many men in many boxes, all with this same, all with these bytes coming in, and it's happening billions upon billions of times a second.
See, this isn't making it any easier for me.
Right.
No, I understand that though. That you know what I mean.
Like conceptually,
Yeah.
I mean, I can get that is happening.
Yeah.
I don't know how we get from that even to basic input and math and logic. I don't know how we get from that to something that does something.
Instruction sets on top of instruction sets on top of instruction sets, pretty much.
I guess that's it.
yeah.
It's fucking bonkers for sure.
I have a very hard time really figuring it out.
You want to hear something silly?
Yeah.
The Nintendo 64 had 4 megabytes of RAM.
That's pretty funny.
It doesn't need that much though, right? Because all the memory is in the cartridge.
It's in the cartridge.
Quite a
right.
bit. Yeah. So video memory or whatever is
Yeah.
probably what's sitting on board your N64.
Correct, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
all of your actual storage and
yours,
quite a bit of the rest.
Yeah,
of
I'm
the
talking
boards.
about video memory.
Oh,
like
okay.
RAM
Yeah.
Yeah.
that you can download more of.
Yeah. Download more RAM. I took my N64 apart recently.
Yeah. It's there's nothing there. It's just
There's nothing there.
very, very little
it's,
there.
It's really just a board
Yeah.
and interface to another board.
That still
Yeah.
works.
yeah.
Somehow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, 25 years later, still operational.
What else you got that blows your mind? You said you had more. I'm curious.
There are 3 more that I thought of. One is kind of a smaller scale thing, but Queen Cleopatra, when you think of ancient Egypt, like Egypt in antiquity, it's like the time scale for that entire civilization is so much bigger than I think a lot of people realize. Queen Cleopatra lived closer to our present day than she did to the construction of the pyramids.
Yeah.
that is really weird. I have heard that before.
Yeah, by about 500 years. Cleopatra died, I think, 30 years before the birth of Christ.
Okay.
And
Whoa.
the pyramids were built around 2500 BC. So about 4,500 years ago.
No shit.
Yeah. Which also means that by the time King Tutankhamun died, the pyramids were already about 1,000 years old.
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
God, imagine 1,000 years ago right now.
Yeah, that's
What was happening in the year 1000? Anyone know?
Crusades? First Crusades?
Latin was spreading throughout Europe, becoming the dominant language of the clergy and nobility.
Yeah. Like seriously, I there's very little I know about that time.
Would that be the Xi dynasty?
I don't know enough about Chinese history.
The Wang Chung dynasty.
The shrimp fried rice dynasty.
1,000 years ago, Japan, I think, was still there wasn't the shogunate yet. It was still a divine emperor. They were just developing.
What about Sunrise Land?
I think they were just introducing the Chinese script into the language alongside their alphabet.
God, my dog has been licking his asshole for a solid 35 minutes.
I'll just let him do it.
Now, of course, there's two alphabets and the Chinese system of writing. But I think it was 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, fuck.
They had that big year 1000 glitch everyone was worried about.
Yeah,
Where the pyramids were gonna fall apart.
everyone's scrolls stopped working.
Yeah. Oh no, Y1K, what are we going to do?
1,000 years ago, the Saxons were still fighting mainland Europeans for territory control. I think 1,000 years ago, the Bayeux Tapestry became a thing, depicting King Harold falling in battle.
Okay.
So from here to there, like pre-Middle Ages, pre England, really.
Wow.
That is what the pyramids would have been to King Tut.
Wow.
1,000 years old. King Tut died around 1500 BC or like 1580 something.
That's crazy.
This country's what, 244 years old?
Yeah,
roundabout.
something like that.
Yeah.
Roundabout.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
There's also the fact that Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire.
No shit.
Whoa, really?
The Aztec Empire, they became an empire sometime in like the 13th or 14th century. Oxford University's been around since I think sometime before the 11th century or like
shit.
during
That's so
the 11th
hard to
century.
imagine.
Yeah. It's I mean, the Aztec people obviously like Mesoamericans have been around longer than that, but the Aztecs didn't formally coalesce into an empire around like the 12th or 13th or the 13th or 14th century.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 13th or 14th. I do remember that little bit from world history.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So one of the other things that blows my mind is the concept of absolute zero. Which
Get into this because I fucking love math.
so like the Kelvin scale, I think zero on the Kelvin scale is absolute zero.
Yeah.
I think is how that works.
Which is a theoretical value, right?
It's yeah, we haven't been able to reproduce absolute zero, but the thought is that it might exist somewhere in the universe, or if it doesn't yet, it will one day when the universe eventually completely dies out. And the way it was explained to me is that absolute zero is the point at which all motion stops.
Yeah, right.
Electrons and protons and stop swirling around the nucleus of an atom.
Yeah. Atoms stop interacting with each other.
Yeah, all chemical interaction stops completely at absolute zero.
Wow.
Which is such a mind-blowing
Yeah.
concept to me.
I don't even know how close we can get, but I'm sure we're nowhere near it.
Yeah, I can't remember what the coldest temperature, because the coldest temperature we've ever discovered, I think, has been lab made.
Yeah,
like even,
right.
It has to be, yeah.
Even in space, you still get heat from stars and
Right.
And you do that by
energy.
decreasing pressure, right?
Maybe
If you increase
yeah,
pressure, you have to create heat.
that creates more energy and more
But
heat.
by
yeah.
creating a vacuum and stretching that to its absolute limits, you start to arrive at there's not enough pressure for interaction.
Let's see, coldest temperature ever recorded.
Remember Mr. Show? 21 is the highest number. That's all there is. Yeah, but there's 22, boss.
Yeah.
22.
So it says Jesus Christ, the lowest natural temperature ever recorded on Earth. The lowest natural temperature ever recorded on Earth is 89 degrees below 0 Celsius.
Oh my God.
What the fuck is that in Fahrenheit?
Negative 128.6. That is 184 Kelvin.
Oh my God.
Where?
Vostok Station in Antarctica, 21st of July, 1983.
Holy shit.
Ain't that a bitch of a year?
Station implying that people were there, or there's like something there that.
Yeah. And that thing was the thing.
Yeah, right. The thing.
That's crazy to me.
This notation is different. In 1908, Dutch scientists got a lab temperature of 4 degrees Kelvin.
Whoa.
Which is minus 269 degrees Celsius.
Whoa.
Minus 452 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh my God. So imagine as hot as your oven is at 450, but just that cold. I don't even know how else to make that relatable.
Okay, like at below what, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, you can throw a boiling pot of water in the air and it'll
Instantly
become snow.
Yeah.
Right.
That's really crazy.
In 1999, a laboratory established a record low of 100 picokelvins.
Wow. Okay.
Which is 1 times 10 to the negative 10th Kelvin. So that's a 1 with 10 zeros preceding it.
That's really close to zero.
That's really close to absolute zero.
They did that?
They did that. That's the lowest recorded
for the hell of it.
that's the lowest recorded lab-made temperature, 100 picokelvins.
I want to throw a Cheeto in it. Want to eat a frozen Cheeto. That's actually all I did with liquid nitrogen when I was there was a summer program at YSU when I was in high school. They let us have liquid nitrogen. And I just threw a Cheeto in it, fished it out, and ate it. It was fine.
When they ship like really expensive, like Wagyu, when they ship the 7 restaurants in this country,
Right, that are actually able to get it.
that are actually able to get it, and like really high sushi grade yellowfin.
Yeah.
They're shipped with dry ice, and a lot of times they're shipped with liquid nitrogen to keep it.
Yeah, because if
keep
you're
it so
gonna,
cold.
you want it to change as little as possible.
Right. Yeah. They have to. So they get those biohazard containers,
Right.
and like shipped to them, and you have to
Like
have
set it
special
on a
handling
nuclear
for 'em.
submarine.
Yeah, and then the other thing that blows my mind is, which is something unfortunately I don't really know a lot about, and shit, even the people who study it even say that they don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
Is quantum entanglement, which is this idea that two quantum particles that are entangled, which I can't quite remember what the.
So I think it's 2 atoms. I think 2 atoms can become entangled in such a sense that their spin always orients the same way.
Yeah, so that if the spin of one atom is clockwise, the other is always counterclockwise.
Yeah, I think
that's always true regardless of distance.
Yeah. So once this happens,
So
so
they
you could take them.
They could be on complete opposite ends of the universe, and if one atom starts spinning the other way, the other will start doing the same thing.
Whoa.
And
I have a very hard time with that.
that's so do quantum scientists. It's always hilarious too when people who want to pretend to be smart are like, I've read up on quantum mechanics. No, like no one really understands it yet.
No, yeah.
The question is that just theoretically possible, or is that something that we know exists?
It's something they've observed.
They can see it happening.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So here's where this gets really interesting for me is how you might use that.
So here's the thing. In Mass Effect 2, Cerberus is explicitly said to use a system of communication. So they have like they do in like the good guys, the Alliance, use a system that's essentially just like a galaxy spanning internet.
Okay.
That uses like some kind of faster than light communication medium between various like physical relay points.
Yeah.
So there's always like a delay in communication, essentially, if you're far enough away. But in Mass Effect 2, Cerberus, this pro-human extremist group, is said to have developed an instantaneous system of communication with entangled quantum particles by essentially using each one as a bit.
Yeah.
To transmit information in ones and zeros instantaneously across any distance.
So yes, first of all, that's a thing they think they could eventually do someday.
Yeah.
But even more interesting to me, right now we rely on a digital system for storage. We only really have 1 and 0 available to us.
Yeah.
Now imagine how many degrees of specificity you could achieve if you had the full rotational, 360 degrees of the spin of an atom.
Yeah.
So now you're not just limited to 1 or 0. You can actually take a single bit can be maybe 6 places depending on how you measure it, or how specific you can get, or maybe you just take it easy and get 4 out of it. That's pretty good.
You would effectively have an unlimited amount of storage and transmission bandwidth.
Well, what would take, several 1s and 0s to accomplish, your bit goes from 0 or 1 to 0, 1, 2, or 3, or maybe 0, 1, 2, 3, 5.
Or any of the infinitesimally small fractions between 0 and 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
So how specifically you can measure is the limit of what a bit can actually hold.
I'm having a hard time with that. Wow. So, okay, I'm glad you brought that up too, because there is an infinite number of fractions in between 0 and 1.
Right.
There's no, it stretches on forever because there's always,
There's as many of those as there is the numbers between 0 and infinity, because they're the same thing. The numerator or the denominator can be infinity.
And for a visual representation of this, you can look at the Mandelbrot set, a fractal whose subdivisions recurse infinitely. The more detail you render of it.
That's some fractal shit, right?
Yeah.
Whoa. I really like fractals.
So another one, theoretically speaking, I shouldn't be able to touch you.
Right. And you actually technically maybe didn't.
Yeah, because there's always an infinite amount of space.
Right.
In between.
Plus, at the really small level, there's like a electrical repulsion,
right,
kind of thing.
The Greeks came up with the Greeks had the same idea. They called it Zeno's paradox.
Yeah.
For an arrow in flight to reach its target, it has to go halfway there. But to get there, it has to go halfway there. To get there, it has to go halfway there.
So it never actually hits.
This is where
or shouldn't.
This is where like science and philosophy meets like theology, and like how many angels can sit on the head of a pin.
Yeah.
These like impossible questions.
Yeah. This is the kind of shit that I want to talk about, because it's just like
because like we can kind of understand it from a very like theoretical perspective.
Yeah.
But trying to picture that exceeds the mind.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like there, in between every number, there's an infinite number of smaller fractals in between that number.
Yeah, it's the classic. How many times can you cut a thing in half, or cut a pizza pie? How many pizzas? How many little slices of pizza?
Can you treatsy and seatsy up for your geetsies?
Infinitzy.
Here's something mind blowing. I forget its name, but there was an African gray parrot
Okay.
That was
Not the famous. Well, maybe the famous one. I don't know.
I can't remember. But it's like a research thing, kind of like Coco the gorilla, who learned to use sign language. But this African gray parrot was the first animal that we know of to ask an abstract question, which was, "What color am I?"
Ooh.
It wanted to know the name of the color that it is.
Whoa.
That freaks me.
That actually scares me. Whoa. I don't know why, but that there's like a deep sense of dread in that somehow.
It should be dreadful.
What is my purpose? You pass butter.
Like the more and more research we do with animals, the more and more we discover about their sense of self.
Yes.
We should be concerned about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should be deeply concerned about this because we're not, just because that's the only one that's ever asked that question.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's not the only one that ever thought it.
Yeah.
Right. Consider the fact that a great deal of animals are able to recognize themselves in a mirror.
Yeah.
Which means that they have a concept of their own individuality and that they are separate from but also just the fact that like Coco as well can ask questions.
Yeah.
And which also implies something really mind-blowing, which is that animals, at least some animals, certainly higher order mammals, can conceive of the fact that other organisms might know something that they don't.
Yes.
Yeah. Theory of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we should be really worried about this. And I'll tell you what, honestly, I think by the time we're old people, the way that we look at people now that go, oh god, they were from a different time, that's kind of we will absolutely, as old people, we will be held to our decision to kill and eat animals.
Yeah.
We are absolutely going to be held to it.
Yeah.
And we're not even going to be able to say we didn't know on some level that it was kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's
Because we kind of
know. Right. Okay. So
on the bright side, we got that lab grown meat now.
Yeah, that's
gonna
that's right. That's a deep cut.
Honestly, I'm super for that.
If
it doesn't have a brain before I eat it, that's probably good.
It's just animal cells that
Never thought, never
have
felt.
had sentience. And if that's shit, I'll eat that if it tastes as good as a regular steak.
If they can do it,
If it gives me the same nutrients and tastes the same and is functionally a piece of cooked animal that was never attached to the thinking part of the animal.
Right.
Ethics. We're talking ethics.
I'll still eat that.
Yeah, if it's the same. Yeah, absolutely.
If it's delicious and it won't make me grow tentacles out of my back.
I think there's a really good chance that when we're old that they'll be teaching in textbooks yes, this is the brutality of humans of the early 20th century, early 19th century, or all the way back, and then especially we had all this information available to us.
Yeah.
And we're kind of but I really like bacon.
Yeah, right. Let me pose a new mind blower to the table here.
Yeah.
We are the first species on this planet that we know of that has achieved sentience of this level.
Right.
A level that we're sitting at this table right now making a podcast.
Yeah.
Which is something that we conceptually invented.
Yeah.
Based on years and years of history of audio recording and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, everything we're doing right now rests on a gigantic foundation of previous discovery, technology.
Right. Yeah.
To our knowledge, to the best of what we can deduce as modern humans, we are the first species that's ever been able to do this.
That we know.
That we know of. Yeah. There's a real good possibility that we're not going to be the last.
Right.
Yeah.
There's animals on this planet that are very, very smart.
Yeah.
And human beings are constantly evolving. So we don't know what, you know what I mean? So, okay. This is the example I'm going to use. There was, I brought this up, I think last time we were here off the recording. When they recorded Blue Planet 2. There was one of the photographers was talking about this little octopus that he filmed for 4 or 5 weeks that was aware of the fact that it was being recorded.
Yeah.
It knew that the thing that this guy was pointing at it was a device for
It certainly knew it was being watched in quotes.
Yeah.
It might not have understood what that is, but it knew that it was something.
The lens of a camera sure looks like an awful lot of eyes that
Yeah.
a lot of animals have.
Yeah.
it was aware of the fact that it was being observed.
Yeah.
And this thing basically put on an act for the camera. It recognized the guy
Yeah.
and knew every time that he went out to that little den where the octopus was living.
The
and
octopus's garden.
And it would pose and put on a show for the camera.
That's
That's nuts.
the idea of it performing.
That's nuts. And
is nuts.
he's like, you learn like when you're in this line of work that animals have personalities.
Yeah.
It's like if I filmed another octopus, it might be deathly afraid of me.
Yeah,
right.
It might not know what to do if it knows this thing is watching it but doesn't have any intent of causing it harm.
Right.
Then what the hell is it doing watching me?
Right.
What am I supposed to do with that information?
But like this one was aware of the fact that it was being observed and studied and just did a little pose.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
That is weird.
We're the first animals that have gotten that smart. We know dolphins get high.
Yeah.
Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's
Dolphins are
and,
also
and they fuck.
and they fuck.
They don't reproduce. They fuck.
Yeah, they're one of the only animals on Earth, including us, that have sex for pleasure.
Yeah.
Which is
Nuts.
I mean, here's a thought. If like 25% of all life on this planet, including basically all people, was obliterated tomorrow,
Yeah.
I'm reasonably certain that given enough time, something like this, some highly evolved species of something would be sitting at another table
Yes.
in the distant future doing something not that dissimilar.
You're talking about the Kurt Vonnegut Galapagos theory. You ever read Galapagos? by
No.
Kurt Vonnegut. It's basically about this very tiny cruise ship or very tiny boat that goes out on an expedition and ends up in the Galapagos, which is the only part of the world that is not completely destroyed by nuclear war while it's out at voyage.
Whoa.
And it's about the people who are there being aware of what's happened outside of the island.
Yeah.
And recognizing that they're the last humans that they know of on Earth.
Like just kind of seeing nuclear winter roll in.
Yeah.
And being
So,
like,
and if
okay,
you know
we're-
anything about Vonnegut, he loves this kind of shit, right? So, like, it's interspliced. He's the all-seeing narrator,
Of course.
who's, you know what I mean, like telling you, okay, this is what's happening, like with these people on this planet now, but 300,000 years later, there's this new species of very primal beings that are descendant from the original inhabitants, the last piece of humanity on this island.
300,000 years is that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a flash.
And they've evolved, and they're not as smart as humans, but they're still smart, and they can now breathe underwater, and like, so he's just like, he's playing with the idea of evolution from these like 8 or 9 people that made it to this island.
Wow.
And like what happens when they evolve. And,
I should read that one.
It's really good when I have it.
Is there a short story? Or
It's a novel. It's a novel, yeah.
I just thought of another mind-blowing fact.
All right.
Neutron stars. The average neutron star is so dense that if
Every single frame has so much. I'm sorry.
the average
help it.
neutron star is so dense that if you were to have on this planet a bit of neutron star the size of a sugar cube, it would weigh as much as the Empire State Building.
Whoa.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming before it like rapidly exploded out or whatever,
Yeah.
because
If you can contain it, yeah.
Yeah, that is an illustration of the density of a neutron star.
that's very cool.
I got another quick space one for you.
All right.
At this moment, as we're recording this podcast, and you
this
at home, as you're listening to this podcast, the universe is expanding around you faster than the speed of light.
Yeah.
Which means that we will never, ever be able to see the edge of the universe because it is infinitely expanding on all sides faster than we can currently perceive it.
Yeah. Essentially, if light was coming off of it, it would be. I mean, what I'm trying to put that together in my head.
It's we don't know if there's a limited, like, as far as we know, the universe exists in a void that is this big mass of stuff that's growing into this infinite void, or maybe not an infinite void.
Now I get it. I got this before. Now, okay, so if the universe was static,
Yeah.
light at its edges would eventually hit us.
Right.
But because it's moving faster than light generated at its edge,
We can never see
everything
the
that
edge
we
of it.
see is a delayed by any number of degrees.
Not just a delay by any number of degrees, but like way delayed because it's moving faster than we can process
Well,
it.
so we talk about these like when you see like a telescope turns up an image of a newly forming star galaxy or something.
It's
like
already
that.
formed.
That's the thing is we always talk about it like, wow, we just saw it happen.
Yeah, no.
and it is the universe's like old fucking news.
Yeah, it's already
That's so
happened.
interesting to me.
It's so far out. It's like not only the time, the universe is what 16, almost 17 billion light years observable.
Yeah.
it's actually closer to 24 billion years. As far as like size, universe is 24 billion years. We can measurably see about 16.8, close to 17 billion light years. So it's way bigger than what we can even see. And it's getting bigger.
And even what we can see is an echo of what's actually out there.
Correct.
That's another thing is if a giant fucking space laser flying at the speed of light was heading towards us, it wouldn't be like anything else where you could look and go, oh shit, that laser's coming.
Yeah.
We should like dodge it or something. Because the moment you see it is when it has arrived.
Right.
Yeah.
This is not probably mind blowing to anyone, but
No.
when I think about that kind of stuff, I just really kind of have to scratch my head.
Yeah. You have this. It's weird. The universe is actually really fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
The one good, the big theory that everybody has, like one of the big end of the world theories, is what happens if a black hole opens up. And the good news is we could pretty reliably predict that if a black hole opened up really close nearby us, they move so slow in the fabric of space-time that we would know that it was happening.
Right.
So we would be aware of the fact that the black hole was happening, and it would be a while before it actually started to, we would start to feel the effects of it.
Gotcha.
Because they just move, they not just warp space, but they warp time as well. Because they shouldn't exist theoretically. They just don't make sense.
Yeah.
But they move because they're so dense. It's so dense, so many frames, and they move so slowly. Like we could, if it opened up in an adjacent galaxy, we would be able to see that.
Right.
And perceive that it was, pulling matter into it.
Yeah. Right.
So-
they don't just happen all of a sudden.
Right.
There's a pretty slow process by which a star dies and then starts to like lose
Right.
to its own gravity and then
Yeah, it's
acquires more
supernovas
matter.
out first.
Gets plastic surgery so it can keep looking younger.
If you've ever seen an image of a supernova too, it's really cool because it's so bright. It's the brightest thing that we can see. And then it just sucks into this big nothingness. But like if a black hole opened, we would know that it was happening, and it would be moving so slow and pulling matter in so slow that, predictably, if it opened, it would be a very, very long time, depending on where it opened, before it actually pulled us in and we
Yeah, it's
started
not
to
gonna be
feel
a
the effects of
surprise.
it. Yeah.
It's gonna announce itself way early.
Right.
Can I tell you another mind blower? I know we're probably running long.
Yeah, we're getting close.
But I want to tell you another one. That, you probably saw this recently, and if you didn't, you'll find this interesting probably. They have developed a technique to project onto the visual cortex of our brains
Oh.
basic patterns like letters, and they've used it to convey written messages to the blind, and it works.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think that one of the things they have to do is to like map out everyone's brains,
Your brain,
probably
yeah.
individually or
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
So they basically stimulate different areas of the visual cortex. I think wirelessly. I think like from the outside of the brain, but they were able to write letters essentially onto the visual field of the blind, and they could read the messages.
Whoa.
That is very fucking interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, okay. I remember like when I was like a kid.
Yeah.
On when TLC was actually the Learning Channel.
Right.
Like way back in the 90s. I remember like this,
Yeah, before it was just like
Dumb
600 pound
bullshit.
everything, or people hoarding things, or people who
right.
eat boogers, or whatever.
it was actually like and it was for specifically I think a lot of medical science.
Yeah.
And I remember they had a guy on who was getting a tumor pulled from his brain, and he signed up to be part of a like an experiment, like where they would do brain tests, and they
Just
basically
like while they had him open, kind of.
they had him open, and they had this guy Twilight, and he's awake and cognizant.
Yeah.
but they have basically part of his skull removed.
Okay.
and they're looking at parts of his brain.
Just digging around under the hood there.
And the doctor is depressing parts of his brain, and they're asking him questions, and then seeing how he responds. And the doctor is going, "Okay, well, this is the speech section of the brain."
And he goes,
And he can't. He asks him a question, and then he's like, the guy answers, and then he asks him another question and depresses this part of his brain, and this guy can't answer.
Yeah.
So it's like even then that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We know they've done like these really crazy, like mad scientist sort of experiments with brains.
Yeah.
So that doesn't that blows
Right.
my mind, but it makes sense.
it's
that
not
we can do it.
far-fetched.
It's not far fetched.
It's impressive, but it's not like we didn't know that directly
Yeah.
manipulating the brain has direct results.
It seems like something that's super practical for us.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That would be a next logical step.
Right.
There's one thing I learned about in psychology is is the fact that the part of the brain that processes like static visual stimulus, just things like colors, light, shape, is different from the part of the brain that processes motion.
Yeah.
So if someone has damage in the part of the brain that perceives color, light, shape, etc., they're functionally blind. But if you sit them in front of a monitor with a dot that moves in one of the 4 cardinal directions, they will be able to tell you what direction it's moving in better than chance.
Whoa.
Yeah, because their brain's still picking up the motion. That motion is being registered by the eyes and transferred to that part of the brain.
But the brain can't.
Whoa.
process
Okay, that
the
makes
visual.
a lot of sense.
But they can't visually see it happening, but their brain knows it's happening.
because all these little parts of the brain that recognize patterns or make noises and all these things, they're all like very specialized little cores dedicated to things.
Yeah. Now that's a very rare injury to have.
Yeah.
Like just by chance.
Yeah.
But they can still the brain still perceives motion even if you're functionally blind.
Whoa.
What's interesting to me is how much of what you see you're not actually seeing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Your brain fills in a shocking amount of what you think you're looking at.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like you have maybe, I guess held like in front of your, like a foot in front of your face, you hold like a circle up. You probably have about this much of like actual visual acuity, like they can really see detail. And all that sort of peripheral stuff around,
Your brain's filling it in.
your brain is filling in a shocking amount of that information.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of pattern recognizing because you knew that thing was there. And it's also like why, well, it's why we're so inaccurate.
We all
Yeah.
we also all have a blind spot at the point where our retina connects to the optic nerve.
you can find it if you
Yeah.
have to have your thumb at the right distance away from, but you can kind of watch it like fade out of view.
Yeah. I forget how exactly you do that, but you can get the blind spot to work, but most of the time we don't know it's there because again, the brain is filling it in.
Right, exactly.
Based on context clues.
Very, very weird how that works. Because when you do that, you see whatever the thing is you're trying to see essentially disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's still something there.
Yeah.
And it's not, your thumb or the coin or whatever you're using to do but you see the colors are almost kind of filled in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't see anything there.
That's your brain doing the work.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's really all we are. It's just a brain with a meat mech.
A really good one. A really amazing brain.
Yeah.
And also kind of stupid in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So have we covered? We could really honestly keep going on this for
know.
hours. I do have more, but
Yeah.
maybe we'll table that for another time because I had a lot of fun with this topic.
Dude,
I was-
great topic.
I was like
next time give
super-
us a heads up.
Okay, yeah, I will.
Because we can see who can bring the wackiest
I
information.
will. I was super excited to do this one.
Yeah.
And I think it
I
turned
like
out
when
well.
we talk about science.
Yeah, I don't know if this was interesting for anybody else, but it was just like
I bet it was.
It's a little bit of philosophy, a little bit of science,
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
real high concept
A little
shit.
salt
so.
and pepper. Put it in
Salt
my
and
mouth.
I eat it. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Anyway, we'll be back.
Yeah, let's
Oh God.
let's take a minute and we'll come back with our recommendations, what we learned, right?
Yeah, sure,
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah, I'll fucking, whatever. We'll
Sure, fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't give a
back.
shit. All right, see you in a bit.
Of course not. Of course not. That was not on recording. Thank God.
Good.
Anyway, we're back.
For once, it wasn't something racist.
That's for once in the long history of this podcast. I didn't say something racially reprehensible.
For once.
In my defense, I just don't like people,
Yeah. I mean,
regardless of race. It's just that's an easy target. You know?
See, my defense for the nature of this show is if you don't mean something and you know that, then it's fine.
yeah. Right.
Anyway,
So,
we're back. This
Yeah.
is the end of the show.
Oh, it sure is, buddy.
I'm struggling with what to recommend.
Well, good. Let's start with you.
Yeah.
You fucking figure it out, asshole.
I actually do want. Fuck you, first of all. I do want to say a follow up on one of your recommendations.
Oh, okay.
Which you already know this. I watched Waco.
Oh, yeah.
Waco is the feel bad drama of the year.
I'm telling you, man.
It's depressing as hell.
It is so sad.
I was like watching the tail end of it, like the very last episode one night.
Hard to watch.
Half in the bag, and I'm like,
Tough
this is
watch.
just so sad.
If you're not in tears by the end of it, I don't know how to feel for you.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's a rough watch.
It's it's really well done though. Like as far as
yeah.
like whether they did a good job, they did a good job. Whether you will like it is like totally another question.
So the way that I can equate that show, when I was in middle school, I read To Kill a Mockingbird for the first time.
Yeah.
And that was the first, like, that I can remember. That was like the first piece of art, like media, that I can remember getting to the end of, and I wanted more of it.
Yeah.
And Waco is 6 episodes long, and I know that they told the whole story, but I want more of it.
Yeah, the thing
You know
is,
what I
you
mean?
really do just want more.
You just want more because it's done so well. But they only needed 6 episodes to tell you a really good cohesive story.
Yeah.
And it's that last episode's a gut punch. I mean, it's just rough.
Yeah, it's like we all know because we know the actual event. We kind of know how it ends.
yeah.
But
Don't spoil it for anybody who's
spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
No, yeah, it's they did a very good job. I second your recommendation. Actually, I guess I could second another one of your recommendations too while I'm at it.
Oh, yes.
Having played Hitman for many hours, that game fucking rocks.
Done it.
I'm getting back into games in a way. I got the Oculus, so I'm doing some of that, and I'm
Yeah.
just playing more PC games, I guess, in general. I'm like kind of finding that again.
Spaghetti punch.
Spaghetti punch?
Spaghetti punch.
Is that Donkey?
Yeah, it's Dougie. He's playing Hitman. He's got a can of spaghetti. And he's just killing people. Because you can do that. You can grab a can of spaghetti and Hitman
Yeah.
and just kill people.
You can do damn near anything you want.
Spaghetti punch. Spaghetti throw.
That game, I'll say it again. I think you probably already said it in your recommendation, but I know we talked about it recently. That game rewards the hell out of you for playing again and again and again and thinking creatively and really exploring and understanding,
Yeah.
where things are.
And on occasion doing some bonkers shit, just for fun because you can.
Yeah.
In the first non-tutorial level of Hitman 2, you can acquire a disguise from a man named Florida Man, and run around with like pink leopard print leggings and like a hat with like a raccoon tail pinned to it. It's just great.
Yeah.
You can get a reward for killing one of the targets with a marlin that's hanging up over the wharf. You shoot the side, it comes down and just hits him.
Yeah.
It's great.
I've played it pretty conventionally in the sense that I've gone through and just tried to achieve all the different challenges that I can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's some that I just kind of like, okay, I can't figure out where this goes, so I'll just come back to it later, which is fine.
Yeah.
And maybe coming back with different equipment will help. Because I still have limited starting equipment. I'm sure that will change as I move on.
Absolutely.
But that game is really fucking cool. So
Yeah.
I second that recommendation. But now on to my actual recommendation. There's a series which I found on Netflix. Its newest season is the only one available on Netflix, but its older seasons you can watch on Hulu. It's a survival show, and it's called Alone. Have you seen this recommended to you at all?
Have you seen this? Have you heard about that? You
heard about it?
You were talking about it when we did our TT&T session.
Oh, I
last
probably
night.
was. Yeah. So, okay, well, then this is old news to you guys.
No, it's fine.
But Alone is basically, it's one of those shows where people go out kind of like Naked and Afraid, but people are, wearing clothes. Weird.
Yeah.
Clothed and relatively okay.
Yeah, clothed and I'm fine or whatever. But the concept of it does something that these survival shows often do not do. Like when you're watching Naked and Afraid, sure they're naked, and sure they're afraid, but they are not alone.
Yeah.
They have a partner for one, and even when they don't have a partner, they're surrounded by camera crew, and you know this. Occasionally, for whatever reason, you'll actually see the crew. Something happened, and there's an emergency, and we accidentally see a shot of the crew or something.
I remember there was one episode where a guy like drank water out of a log. Like it was like this log that had just been filled with standing water.
Ooh.
And they needed
That's horrible.
He drank it and got some awful parasite. He had to be life-flighted out of there.
Yeah, it's truly dangerous.
Yeah, and then they didn't get the money because he fucking idiot.
Yeah. Alone is different in that they send them out there with a GoPro and a tripod mount camera.
Yeah.
And they film themselves. And so they have a regular wellness check every so many days, maybe a week or something. So the medical staff will come out and see them. But that'll be the first time they've seen people
It's
in
got
a long
chill
time.
down my spine. Like, no, thank you.
Right. So they also always have a radio. And they can pick up that radio at any time and say, I'm tapping out. And they will come and they will get them and they'll leave. But the most recent season puts them in the Arctic Circle.
Oh, fuck that.
In an impossible to live in area of Northwest Canada, one of the largest lakes in North America. It's way up there.
Yeah.
It is very, very difficult to live there.
Yeah, fuck that.
So even the stuff you can traditionally count on, you might not be able to count on up there because the fucking lake is just frozen one day.
Yeah.
It's just gotten so cold you don't have drinking water. You've got to make drinking water. You got to hack your drinking water out of the lake. Trapping is very difficult. Fishing is very difficult. It's just not the same as surviving in a lot of other places. So
Right.
that show, the 6th season is the one that's on Netflix, and it's really good. And honestly, it ends fantastically. I mean, it's great to see because what they will do, and they've done this for 6 seasons now, whoever wins, when it's medical check day, their spouse is brought out there in secret, and they'll just turn around at some point, and they're there to say, you did it, you won, you're the last one, you stayed the longest, you win. And so you get to see that person who has been isolated for, I think in the last season it was 62 days.
Oh my God.
Up in the Arctic, very alone, slowly going crazy. One guy was doing he made a pelt out of the shit that he got and then walked the runway for the camera and stopped and posed and turned around. And he's they find ways to keep themselves relatively sane. Yeah. But I recommend it. It's a good show. And it has a real catharsis to it, and they're just so impressive. The people are so impressive.
What do they win? How much money is 62 days alone in the Arctic?
A lot less than you might think, actually.
Yeah, nothing, right? Yeah.
Well, it's a lot. It's $500,000.
Okay, so that's better than Naked and Afraid.
What do they win?
Naked and Afraid is 20 grand for a week, and it's
Yeah, right. $500,000 is not nothing.
No.
But it's come on, we grew up during Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah, right.
People were willing to win $1 million.
500,000 is not unsubstantial.
No, it's a lot of
That was-
it's a lot of money.
I wouldn't do it, but it would make me consider it and ponder and fantasize about it for a moment.
Now, this is brought to us by the History Channel, so the fact that they got $500,000 prize money is actually kind of impressive to me.
Right, yeah.
But I recommend it. It's called Alone. They're alone. It's good.
All right. I dig that.
Yeah.
Ben, you got something for us?
I've been trying to think. I don't really know.
Street Fighter 2.
Revengeance. The third Street Fighter 2 to come out of this console generation.
Street Fighter 2 4.
This time there's even more fighting.
More street. More fight.
More 2.
Twice as much, too.
An infinitesimal amount of 2.
That's a small amount of 2.
Yeah, small
You want
amount.
a
no, you want
maximal amount of
an
2.
I'm not good with English. I was an English major, everybody. An infinite amount of 2.
The bevy.
A Googleplex of 2. My cup runneth over with street fight and two.
An embarrassment of twos.
Reprehensible.
Well, you can give one while we wait for Ben to think.
Sure. I have one this week. I am going to keep it simple. I don't care what you do, but in any way, shape, or form, however you can possibly conceive of it, you should go out and play some golf.
Yeah.
Or stay in and play some golf.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're playing regular golf out on the course by yourself or with a couple friends or or with a golfing partner, with your spouse, or if you're going out, shout out to Rich Gulu at Best Buy. If you're going out and you're playing disc golf every week, disc golf sounds stupid and like hippie.
Disc golf is frolf, right?
Yeah,
it's frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf, yeah, it's stupid fun. Actually, it's really really cool. It's kind of a blast to play disc golf. Don't be ashamed of it. Or you could just, if you want, you could stay at home and play a game on your whatever console you got there.
The box thing.
You can play it on your phone. There's tons of golf apps. You can play it on your Xbox, your PlayStation. What I'm saying is that
you're not really recommending golfing. You're recommending the sport of golf
as
in
a
all
broad
of its
at large.
Okay, only because golf. Okay, I'm going to get real specific here. Golf gets a lot of hate for being boring and stupid, and nobody understands it. Golf is one of the.
Who doesn't understand golf?
Well, people don't understand why it's captivating and it's fun to watch and fun to enjoy. And it's boring and it's stupid. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's just like your opinion, man, and that's cool. And that's cool.
That's cool.
But like, okay, golf is one of the oldest games that we play. We can measure early forms of golf date back to the 11th century.
Yeah.
And the modern game of golf dates back to the 14th century in Scotland. The actual modern traces of the rules that we play by today have been largely unchanged since the 1700s in Scotland.
That's actually kind of wild.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything where they like removed the 3-point line or anything.
Right. And what's more than that is the golf course that basically made a lot of those rules and standardizations.
You could play them.
You can play it. You can go to any, not just, the big one is St. Andrews.
That's what I was thinking of.
That is where, like, up to that point, there was like, you could have 11 holes per side. You could, what I mean? Depending on what course you could go to, there's, some courses had 7 holes per, per front and back.
Yeah.
St. Andrews is the first one that standardized the 9-hole side. So 18 holes total for a full round of golf.
Yeah.
And because St. Andrews was so popular, everybody followed suit.
Yeah.
It is like the birthplace of, you could go to the birthplace of modern golf and play the course, and it is largely unchanged. Yeah. Except for the hotels that now line the back nine.
Sure, right.
The 17th and 18th. The 17th at St. Andrews is famously called the road hole because you shoot over the hotel and the road is right off to the side. It runs parallel to the 17th, or parallel and then perpendicular.
What if the road was always cutting through the middle of that thing?
I don't know, but it's one of the oldest games we play. It's like it's super fascinating, and we haven't changed that much about it.
Yeah,
we've modernized the game, and we've made it easier to hit, and we've been able to hit
the technology
farther.
Behind it.
The technology behind it has advanced a lot, but it is still pretty much just a bunch of people out there
whacking shit with sticks,
trying to hit a tiny little hole in the ground.
Yeah.
So however you play it, if you play disc golf, it's the same principle. You're trying to get the lowest score possible. Or if you're playing on a computer, or you're playing on your phone, or you're like going out like what I do. I go out and play 9 holes with my dad every week.
Or you could be like the guy that was literally in my street like a week ago.
Who's chipping in his front yard?
No, he was hitting it into other people's yards and chasing it. I think he was just walking and smacking the golf ball
Back
where he
and
walked.
forth. Yep.
That was weird to me, but whatever.
It's one of those games where it's like the famous thing about golf is it's a sport that cannot be only played. Because
Sure.
you're not playing against anybody. We put tournament, conditions upon it.
Yeah.
But it was a game that was originally invented to just be played. It's
Right.
not something you're designed to win. You're playing the game. The only person you're competing against is yourself.
Right.
Because you are ultimately the person who's responsible for making the shots.
Yeah. You compete
Yeah.
against yourself, but then ultimately you see who competed against themselves the best.
We can compete. We can use it as competition, but you're playing the game with just you. It's you, the ball, and the flag, and that's
Right.
it. And it is super unique in that way. And I'm fucking tired of golf getting a lot of hate. So you should go out and in whatever form you play it, I think you should try it.
On one of my furlough weeks that I have to take for work, I'm going to go golfing with you.
You should.
Yeah.
You should absolutely go golfing with me.
With an entire week off, I am absolutely going to do that.
I love it. I've never been good at it.
Yeah, I won't be good at it.
No.
I don't even think I
It's
have
not
the right
about it.
clothes.
It's not. It's like fishing. The goal of fishing is not to catch fish. The goal of fishing is to sit out with a beer and a cigar and do nothing for 3 hours.
Unless you're starving in the Arctic, in which case you
You really
need
need to catch fish, right? But the golf is the same thing. I'm one of the. You want to do well, but it doesn't really matter if you don't.
I got him.
Nice
Yeah.
I
shot.
got that gnat.
Well done,
You
sir.
fucking
That's a big
asshole.
fucker.
They're getting big. I'm going insane.
So yeah, play golf. Oh god, I just drank backwash. Oh, gross.
It's just beer.
It's beer spit.
It's beer you haven't gotten into your mouth yet.
Well, it was in my mouth and then got back out.
Are
of
you
my
really
mouth.
spitting it back into the bottle? I take issue with this argument
You're
when
not
people say
spitting it.
this.
It's falling out of your mouth into the bottle.
But if you're tipping it up and then you just tip back, it didn't really go into your mouth yet.
Yeah, I don't know how you drink beer, but
I don't know how you drink beer.
like that, you dropping the beer into your mouth.
See, I'm like,
You get that warm, spitty backwash.
yeah, there might be some spit in there.
Yeah, exactly.
You think of anything yet, Ben?
Sorry. Play golf. Play golf. Drink beer. Play
Yes.
golf. Hey, if you're gonna play golf, you should also drink beer or get stoned when you play golf because it's just goes together so well.
You do a couple of lines before you go golfing.
Yeah,
Just,
take some mescaline. Just go out.
off the trunk of your car, just do a couple of lines in the parking lot.
I'm not gonna get too personal, but I do know someone in my life who took mescaline before they played golf and had a blast. So you can do it intoxicated. It's fine.
It's better.
No one cares.
Yeah. I have not really come up with a recommendation.
That's okay.
Excuse me.
What have you been doing with your time other than Street Fighter?
Replaying Dark Souls.
Oh, we've been down that road.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, the second time around is obviously significantly easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Morty.
Oh, excuse me.
That's okay. If you don't have anything, you don't have
Yeah,
to.
you don't have to have this.
It would just be the
whole-
first time in the history of the show that no one's ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the first time that we haven't had anything, but
right.
we usually, because I've not had stuff and just throwing some bullshit out there that's not really.
How do you feel about that Sprite
Spoiler
Zero
alert.
right now?
Oh, it's okay.
There you go.
There you go.
It's a shining endorsement.
Sprite Zero.
It's okay.
Sponsor us. Give us money, Sprite.
I'm gonna disappoint you guys too because I haven't written down what I've learned either. 'Cause I just
Honestly, I learned a shitload of stuff, but none of it was funny, so I just didn't bother penning it down.
I got a few.
Do you?
Yeah, a few.
I just
That's
haven't been able to focus
Listen,
tonight.
there is going to come a point in the history of this show. you just happen to be the first one who doesn't have anything to recommend. That's fine.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah.
There's going to come a point in the history of this show where one of us is going to show up and it's our turn and we don't have a topic.
Yeah, I'm actually amazed that hasn't actually
I
happened
am
yet.
too. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen at some point, and that's also okay. And that's going to be a fun podcast to get through. So don't worry about it. The whole point of the show is you don't need to have something.
I actually only really have three because my first one just says John Boys.
It's just John.
It just says John Boys.
I wrote here the Indians are changing their name to the much less offensive Savages.
I wrote down Bugs Bunny digging a hole to China, but that's not funny. I wrote the Y1K bug was way worse than the Y2K bug.
I wrote leave the frogs, take the cannoli.
I wrote that the tastiest Cheeto is frozen at absolute zero.
I just wrote science is nuts. They're just like the whole topic.
Yeah.
Like,
Science is nuts.
it's not really, you know.
I got Sprite Zero. It's okay.
Infinity Pizza Treatsies is the last
Oh
one I
yeah,
got.
Infinity
Yes.
Pizza Treatsies.
Woo! You guys like that stirring ending that we?
Yeah.
Woo!
I mean, we often didn't learn anything real, but this time we didn't even learn anything fake.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like we
We actually learned a lot.
we learned
did,
a
yeah,
lot.
we just
It's just none of it's very good for comedy's
Yeah,
sake.
sorry, yeah.
Just more for it being interesting's sake.
That's all right. We don't have to be funny, which is great because we never have been.
Well, that it just so happens.
Yeah.
That we haven't been funny at all.
Right. So lucky us that that's not a requirement because
Yeah.
we haven't figured it out in years.
And lucky you that you don't have to expect that.
Yeah, right.
Or
Or,
something.
whatever. Maybe they do, and we just don't deliver, and it's just like a blue ball performance every single week.
Blue bomb. Woo.
All right. Well, host, what do we do now?
Hey, I don't know. You should one last plug. You should you put a butt plug in your Sorry.
one last plug. A butt plug. You know,
Sorry.
pop it in.
You know,
One last
Slip
plug.
it in.
Where did this come from?
slip it in, go about your day, try and work with it in there and
You know, and
like just train yourself.
you know,
Get
it's
ready.
great because no one knows, but you know.
You know, it's like a little
yeah.
secret. You get one of the ones with the little jewels on it if you want to accessorize, which is a thing for some reason.
Why would you accessorize?
Your asshole? I don't know.
I don't know.
But, you know, whatever you're into, hey, man, that's cool.
I want my birthstone on mine.
Yeah. I don't even know what my birthstone is.
Mine is either.
But I do know I want it in my ass.
See, there we go. We got to something
Yeah.
not funny before it was over.
Yeah. Right. Definitely not funny. Hey, last plug for real this time.
Okay.
Put something in your ass. No, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. It's at 3DudeCast at Twitter. It's just 3 Dude Cast on Facebook if you want to like the page.
Space or like, oh, you mean like in the search bar?
Space, the final frontier. Yes, three space bar cast, or at 3DudeCast, all one, obviously all one word at Twitter. Check us out on social media. I am the webmaster. I will try and post interesting things on there. Please share it. We would really appreciate it if more people listen to this.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Or if you don't, it's also cool too. But you know, we're there. So check us out.
Shout out to our New Zealanders and our Canadians.
Yeah,
Yes,
if you're
still listening.
But join us next week for maybe Ben's episode or maybe a guest episode. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
we will see.
But we'll see. So,
Or next week or in 2 weeks or whenever.
or
the hell we get
whenever,
around
you know,
to it.
whatever, you know, we're not obligated to do anything for you.
Well, thanks for listening.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.